Hello, everybody. It's Friday. We made it through another week, everybody. Another week is done. Woo, woo, woo. It's Friday, Friday. Everybody loves it's Friday. Hello, Jennifer. How are you tonight? Dana's with us on the program. Kitty's chiming in Illinois. Alexa. Sage, welcome to the program. Good to have you, Kitty. Stephanie. Heather. Cheryl is with us. Good to see you too, Sage. Jana's with us. Yes, it is Friday, Kristen. Barb is with us. Sarah. Karen has been found. Dana. Hello. Catherine from Pennsylvania. Yes, Jennifer Dodds. Yes, it is Friday night. It's Friday night. Oh, yes, it's Friday night. Julie Jankowitz is with us tonight. Diana from Longview. Angie's here. Bonnie in Oregon. Did I see you're coming home back to Atlanta, Bonnie? And the Kallenbergs. Yeah, you had birthday cake. I saw birthday cake. I saw birthday cake in a photo Bonnie posted today. That's all I know is, you know, isn't everything better with cake? I don't care what it is. You say pandemic, but we have cake. It's better. I'm just saying. Angie Hulus, how are you? Joanne in Chicago. Ann is with us. Pat, how are you? Or cookies. Yes, cookies are always good too. I like cookies. There's no doubt about that. Look at all you chiming in here tonight. It is great to have you all with us. Well, you know how to reach me, Bonnie. I look forward to you figuring that out and navigating it. Remember, you are the governor of you. You have to make the right decisions for your family, for your employees, for your customers, and for your business. Look at all the hearts going on between you guys, Angie and Julie. A little love fest going on there. And others. There's lots of hearts to go around. Wendy's with us from Denver. Welcome, Wendy. Oh, this is good stuff. It's good to have you all with you. And Adele and Dazzle are here on Friday night. Stella from Nevada. Kelly from Albuquerque. And Pasadena just popped in the house. Good to have you all with us. So what are we all grateful for this Friday night? Friday night. What are we grateful for? Hello, Jenny from Pasadena. Hey, Jaya. Yes, I still owe you a call. Probably tomorrow. You guys were hot today. I got, like, for every email I tried to reply to, I think I got 3 more in today. You guys were on fire today. Michelle, how are you? Dinner with the husband. Oh, sure. Break my heart, Kelly. But okay, you're going to catch the replay. I can work with that. Okay, what all are we grateful for, people? Okay, Jennifer's got cookies. Bonnie's got cake. Kelly's got her husband on the patio making dinner. Dana and Jeff are with us now. Julie's grateful for Resale World support. That's awesome. I'm glad they are supporting you, Julie. All the software partners, all the affiliates of resale have been phenomenal. Better than any other industry out there. But the software vendors have been phenomenal. I have had talks with countless people And it really doesn't matter which one you're with, whether you're with Liberty or Traxia, Ricochet, Consign Pro, SBS, I'm losing names here, Consign Cloud. There's a couple more that I'm missing. Hang on a second. But they've all been phenomenal. I said Ricochet, right? They've all been phenomenal. I mean, they are doing everything they can to support our businesses at this time. Whoop, whoop. Somebody's got PPP money. Sarah got PPP money. In her account. Ka-ching. Ah, Jameson's Irish Whiskey. Got ya. I thought it was Jameson's cake that we were having. I really lost track. I lost track who we were celebrating's birthday. You got a beautiful new mural. Hang on a second. Somebody got a beautiful... My artistic daughter is painting a beautiful murals inside and outside your store. I love that. Jaya's grateful for the Narcs community. Jennifer's got Greek food and Woodford. Ah, very nice. Am I the only cheap one that does Costco? I mean, does that make me cheap or frugal? I get two big bottles for the price of one regular. Maybe I prefer the term frugal to cheap. Resale Global, one of our new affiliates. Thank you, Adele. I'm terrible with all the names, but they have all been phenomenal. I have talked to so many people today. The heck with this week, today. But the way the affiliates have been stepping up and taking care of our community has just been phenomenal. I can't say enough. Yeah, I was thinking that too with the mural painting there, Kelly. I thought that was really cool. Yes, Colleen and Richard at Monkeys and Hats have been great. Thrifty. I can work with the term thrifty. I have to go to a special one. The Costco closest to my home doesn't. Well, but I can go to one in Springfield, Massachusetts. Is the one in the region that sells alcohol, and I can get it there. The Costco branded thing. The only thing I don't like of Costco branded liquor has been, well, I don't like their beer. I don't like Costco beer, and I don't like Costco gin. It's too fruity for me. Melissa's with us on the treadmill tonight. Oh, Pat, that is awesome. I am so happy to hear that about your biopsy disappeared, that you didn't have to have that. That is awesome. Oh, that is truly great. And the advance showed up. And, yeah, money is flowing, people. It is flowing. I'm so happy for you, Pat. You and your husband. Dawn is with us. Anita is joining us. The blessings. That is wonderful news. Yes, I can't stress enough. I mean, as Adele just pointed out, your health is everything. You got nothing without it. And I can't stress that enough. That is the priority in this. What you owe your landlords, what's going on in your business, everything else. Nothing is more important than your health right now, and all the time. That always needs to be a priority. It is your health. So do not neglect that. It's easy to discount yourself, but don't do it. Carrie is with us. And Carrie is not in prison, she told me earlier, and I forget what the other thing she hadn't... Oh, she hadn't defrauded the government, so she's clear on those two things, so she's going to get an idol. She confirmed that for me, which is really the only thing that's going to stop you from getting an idol right now, is those two things. Yes, Karen, thank God it's Friday. It still means something. Okay. So shall we get started with our good morning, good night book? Hey, everybody, this is our good morning good night book, and the page I flipped to tonight, I try not to repeat. I don't think I've done this one yet. I mean, and I'm not going in any order. I just randomly open to a page. Good morning. You got a good head on your shoulders. As for your shoulders, effing magnificent. Go get 'em today. Well, that is interesting. It'll be interesting to see where that takes us today. So, let's see. What do we got in the news today? Let me get out my pile. I got my pile here, and we're ready to go. Happy, healthy Friday. Have you had your meds today? Your meditation, your exercise, your diet, and soon your sleep. Do not forget that. Okay, so what do we got in the news today? Hang on a second. In current events here, let me unclip it. Let me do my unclipping here. Binder clip to the side. AccessoryPalace.com is a source for face masks. I like that. Did everybody see Jennifer at True Fashionistas in Naples doing Lily Pulitzer masks? I mean, I know Lily's supposed to be hot, right? That's a good thing. And Lily Pulitzer masks, she looked very stylish doing them. I want to see Brad, though, Jennifer, in one of the Lily Pulitzer masks. You know, show that they're not just for women. Guys can carry them off, too. Okay, I digress. So, you know, for all of you that think you're not paying your rent, Gap stopped paying rent, did not pay April rent. Their rent is $115 million for all their stores. $115 million in rent a month. They are also Simon Properties, which is the largest mall holder. I think if you got one on Brad, Jennifer, it would just take the cake. You'd sell 160. That's great. I'm so glad to hear that you've sold 80 of those Lily Pulitzer masks. So they are also Simon Mall Group's. So Gap Incorporated is Simon Mall Group's largest tenant. And Simon is the largest mall property owner in the country. So that is an issue, and they are working on it. But they do acknowledge that that could cause some problems if they are not able to renegotiate that and end up getting held in default. So just something to keep on the mind, and to make you feel better about your own monthly rent payment is not $115 million. It just feels like it. The PPP got refreshed today. Woohoo! President signed it as expected. Congress approved it yesterday, and the president did sign it today. It will reopen on Monday. So officially, I know banks are have been taking applications. Again, I've told you to get your applications in for that. I know I have several questions and people to call back tomorrow on that. But Bailey and Molly joined us. So I know I have many people to call back on that over the weekend, and I will, and catch up with people so that we get caught up on that. But yes, you want to get your application in because this will disappear very fast. It opens at 10:30 on Monday. I am very nervous for how much they will have on Tuesday. So you want to have your application in the system. Oh, Molly and Jen together? I'm guessing, just a guess here, Molly, okay? There's some drinking going on. Just a guess. After all, you're from Steamboat Springs, a drinking town with a skiing problem. Yes, so if you don't have it in or you're unsure about it, you need to get that in. The other thing that was in this congressional bill that is important for other people that you might know, not for anybody that's directly in business in here to my knowledge, but they made this current rendition of the bill allowed for, farms to apply for these, which they have previously not been allowed to apply for any of these SBA items. So keep that in mind, that is available to them. Okay, so if you have a friend who's a farmer or owns a small farm or something, they usually can't get in on programs like this, and it is available to them. Let's see. So that opens Monday. So the other side of this comes into what we talked about last night. So we need to recap a little bit here last night. Okay, because that has been overwhelming for people. So the biggest issue of the day has been my staff doesn't want to come back. It's because of the $600. It's not necessarily because of the $600. I had several people when they actually went out and talked to their staff today. It wasn't about the $600. It was some other issue, and they're going to restart in a week later or something else. There's other issues at play. So staff communication is really key with it, okay? But when we get beyond communication, we get down to what can we do for our staff, because we want to treat them like family, even though they're making decisions for themselves. Again, we talked about it last night. There's 27 plus million, probably over 30 million unemployed right now, okay? And that's only counting the ones that are collecting, okay? And able to collect unemployment. It doesn't count all the people that are on the sidelines that haven't been able to collect for one reason or another. Hey, Christine, thank you for joining us this Friday evening. So with that in mind, there are people to take their jobs. Okay, you have a fiduciary duty to the state and to your company to use that PPP money for payroll. Again, I can't stress enough what a terrible loan it is. You're thinking it's a 1% loan and you're going to use it for other bills and I'll just pay it off. It's not going to be that easy. It's a bad loan. The payments are going to be bad on it, and it's going to strangle your business. And this can be a blessing for your business if used correctly and really help get things back on your feet as you're able to reopen. So, with that, hey, Brooke joined us tonight. Idaho is in the house. With that in mind, there are some things with that. First of all, the real key with the PPP is that the unwavering parts of it that I do not expect any change with. And I was on the phone today with multiple congressmen. The one part that I do not expect to change in this is the 8-week time frame. And I don't expect the percentage that needs to be spent on payroll to change. So 8 weeks after it's dispersed, they're wrong. I have 12 documents that talks about that contradicts what Paychex told you today. So I've got plenty of things that contradict that, and will hold up for that. And I expect the FTE part to be the part that they waver on, because the real key is getting them back on, okay? And I think that the final guidance, which I'm expecting sometime next week, well, probably not the final, but I'm expecting much more actual guidance on the FTE part next week, okay, because the SBA had to do it by the 26th, and so they'll release it sometime next week since the 26th is Sunday, is that part is going to change. Well, they're covering their own butt more than anything else. You're gonna the calculation and all the math, and I've got 12 different organizations and 5 different legal people on it. So I'm not worried about the FTE as much, because they're going to change that. I'm fully expecting it from everything that I am getting. The part that it has to be spent on payroll, that it has to be spent in the 8 weeks from disbursement, and that it has to, and that even the other 25% has to be spent on the allowable expenses in the 8-week time frame. So the key is get it spent in the 8-week time frame on allowable things. A minimum of 70% on payroll, which I suggest doing your math at 80% just to make sure that you don't make a mistake. Yes, I just covered that, Heather. Yes, absolutely. But farmers should get their applications in this weekend. They can get both the EIDL and the PPP now. Under the new legislation, farmers can get that, and they should get their application in this weekend for the PPP, because that will be gone. That will be gone next week. But we will have the thing on forgiveness. Now, the thing about getting employees back, if the extra $600 is a problem, is a stumbling block, and they're people that you want to keep, let's go over the math that I covered last night. Because many states have a system in place Sarah, not while I'm drinking, not while I'm swallowing. Do not make me laugh like that. The NFIB is doing, all the trade associations, NFIB, who I've been on with today, and the National Retail Federation, all these different associations are working hard to get variances on this. But the key, the part that they're not wavering on is the payment to payroll. That part, they're not going to get enough people to change that, okay? They got it reduced from 90% to 75%, Jennifer, and it's just not going to bend on that. What will bend, I think, is the time frame and the count of FTEs, okay, and how FTEs are calculated and when they're calculated. I expect that to change. One of the congressmen that I was on the phone with today is chair of the Rules Committee, and he's on board with that, and so there is that interpretation that, and they're trying to do it through interpretation and guidance so that they don't have to go to Congress to get this done. But that I expect to change, and especially timing. You have a lot of the country that is getting these that is closed, so they're getting these to get in, like I'm telling you to get them this weekend. And they can't, really start it because they're forced to be closed. Even in Massachusetts, where I am, okay, we aren't allowed to have any employees in the building. Okay, only the owner of a non-essential business can be in the building. So, with all those things in mind and wanting to get people back to work after this, those things are being kept in mind. That doesn't matter. It's still an 8-week time frame, Chris, regardless of when you get the money. And they will disperse the money within 10 days after you are approved. Okay, all banks are dispersing it within 10 days or less after you are approved. So let me just go over the math that I went over last night again, because many states offer you to bring people back part-time, okay, so not their full work, and they can still earn money and still get money from unemployment. So the example I'm giving is Massachusetts, but I've talked to many of you today and provided answers to your particular state, including Georgia, Iowa, I don't know, there's 48 other states. I've talked to so many people today about it. It's been the hot topic of the day. I am also posting later on tonight, and will be posted to the narts.org/resalestrong, probably tonight because Adele's a night owl, but if not, tomorrow. And thank you, Adele, for taking care of that and keeping all those files organized. COVID-19 unemployment benefit questions for employers. Now, this sheet and question and answers for employers is actually from the state of Iowa. And Iowa did such a phenomenal job of doing this, But every state, most of these things apply to every state. Yeah, I talked to somebody else in Colorado today too. It starts at 25%. So let me do the math. I'm going to give you the Massachusetts math. Every state's a little different with their percentage, and it's very easy to find, and I'm happy to help you find yours if you don't know it. But in Massachusetts, a person can earn 1/3 of their unemployment amount benefit without affecting the benefit amount. And other states might be 25, some are 1/3, some are a little more, some are a little less. Okay, so after your earnings exceed that amount, your benefits are reduced dollar for dollar until it exhausts your benefit, and you're considered fully employed by the state for that benefit week. So let's do the math. Let's say you have a $15 an hour employee who works 40 hours a week. In that case, they would earn $600 a week gross wages, and in most states about $300 a week in unemployment. So, in the state of Massachusetts, using the 1/3 thing, they can earn $100 of their unemployment wages, just about 6.5 hours, and they would still get 1/3 of their $300 in, which the $100 is 1/3 of $300 in unemployment earnings, and they would still get the $300 in unemployment plus the $600 of pandemic unemployment assistance. But let's say we took that 40-hour person making $15 an hour and we brought them back half-time. We brought them back 20 hours. They would earn $300 instead of their normal $600 a week. The first $100 would not reduce their unemployment, but the other $200 would. So they'd earn $300 from you. They would still get $100 from regular state unemployment, plus the $600, and be ahead by $400 from working for you, and be ahead $100 of what they were getting on unemployment, plus they would still have a job. Remember, it is your responsibility if you call them back and they don't want to come back to work, that they are then quitting at that point, okay? If they don't come back to work when you call them back to work, they are quitting. This is very nicely outlined. I mean, every state has a document like this, but out of all the states that I've worked with, none of them have it spelled out and cite all the actual federal and state references as well as Iowa did. So I give the Iowa Department of Unemployment kudos. And that document and the language in it, which is very, very helpful regardless of your state, will be posted later on tonight or by tomorrow to the narts.org/resalestrong page. And that'll be very helpful because otherwise you have to replace them. And there are 30 million documented unemployed people in this country right now. 30 million of them. So there are people that want a job. I have a job posting that we didn't turn off, okay, running on Indeed. And we have been getting applications every day, okay? It wasn't meant that I was still hiring. I wasn't looking at that. But we have had people applying every day. So there are people out there. So keep that in mind. Those documents are out there, but you really need to be planning on spending this money on payroll. Do not take the PPP money if you are only going to use it for other things. It is a bad loan. Chris, they can get the $600 to the last full week of July is when that ends, is when the pandemic unemployment insurance. And if your employees think, oh, I'm just going to keep on collecting that, which they can't if you call them back. If they think that they're going to keep on collecting that till then, and then you'll be so desperate for them that you'll want them, or that they think that they'll be able to find another job easily, there are 30 million other people that will be looking for a job at that point. Okay? It will not be that easy. Hiring will not be that strong in August as it was prior to this happening. Okay, prior to the pandemic, hiring and unemployment was low. It is like gas prices. When gas prices go up, okay, they do not come down very quickly. Okay, unemployment has shot up like this. It will not drop that quickly. Do they have to file, Stephanie, to get the pandemic unemployment insurance? Or do they have to file to only get a partial week benefit? They have to do their regular thing with the state, and they tell them that they're working partially part-time, less than their previous time, and the state will do the calculation for them if they're brought back part-time. So that does work, and that does happen with that. In other news that's going on, let's talk about our friends to the north. Our friends across the border that have made a run for the border, the Canadian border that is, have been doing some really innovative things. Okay, so on Monday, the wage subsidy in Canada starts, where employers can apply for the wage subsidy to help with wages, and I'll have the actual details of that. I've talked about it before, but I don't have them with me right now. Yeah, Jerry, likely, yes, you do need to let them go. The only allowable circumstance for that, Jerry, is if they actually have COVID. The fear of COVID or anything else is not a valid thing, and COVID is very real. But if they don't have it, they aren't exempt. So, but if you have any specific questions, Jerry, reach out to me. You know the number, and I'll give you a G and a E and I don't know why. You know I can't dance like that, but I'll still talk to you, my friend. Bonnie, that is on them. It's actually very easy in Georgia. We'll talk about that. That sounds like you and Park and I'll be talking about that. Yeah, that'll be interesting. But it's not that hard, Bonnie. I actually worked with a couple people in Georgia today on that. So back to my friend, back to my friends in Canada. You guys are all about the United States, but we take care of our friends in Canada too. They have come out with a very innovative program that they are doing, which should offer small businesses 75% rent relief for April, May, and June. April, May, and June, 75% rent relief. So what the program does is landlords apply. It's actually a landlord program. Landlords apply for the program. It pays the landlord 50% of your rent, okay? And then if they reduce their rent by 75%, it reimburses the landlord 50% of it, so 50% of the original rent. So if your rent was $100 for simple math, and the landlord reduces your rent, so you're only paying 25%, so you pay $25, the government of Canada is giving the landlord $50, and the landlord is giving up $25. It is a win-win all the way around. And no other terms of the lease can change, and it is huge. So I actually brought that up. I knew about that early enough. I knew what my buddy Justin up in Canada. I didn't actually talk to him. He didn't call me about it, but my Canadian friends did. Okay, and so I had all that. I had that information about what Canada was doing to discuss when I was on the phone with Congress today. And they got it. And so they are looking at things for that, okay? Currently, most states have put in a moratorium on a couple of things with landlords. Certainly evictions, and that they have to accept late rent with no late fees for these months during the pandemic. Okay? It is a huge program. They got the how that would help small business. They understand the rent problem, as you know, we covered at the top of the program, where Gap is defaulting on $115 million, and they're not a small business. What is small business doing? So they really got that, and they are looking at rent relief in upcoming congressional programs. There are many, many bills to be coming through Congress, still to come on the pandemic, and so there is hope there, and hope that they will gain something from our friends to the north. Let me take a quick look back here. There was a bunch of comments that I missed. Yeah, Jerry, having her daughter having a baby in May is not an excuse to stay on unemployment. Small Business Development Center said instead of paying... Yes, I mean, Brooke, if Idaho is putting that, Small Business Development Center is actually putting that in writing that you can do that, I'd get that in writing, but that sounds like a great thing where Idaho is taking care of its citizens. Ramona, they know that if you've met all your requirements of the Paycheck Protection Program, which again, I expect clarity on the FTE part and not only the FTE calculation, but on how you have to hit that so that you get forgiveness. If you've done all your part, they know that there could be layoffs after your PPP money runs out. They know that. They're hoping that the economy in your area is back on its feet by then. Keeping in mind that if people are feeling safe getting out, if the virus is actually contained, okay, which is what we hope, okay, if the virus is actually contained, there is a ton of money sitting on the sidelines. And for example, in China, it has been flooding. The money that's been sitting on the sidelines is now flooding stores. I mean, flooding. They have pent-up demand to get out to restaurants and stores, and it's just flooding. There's been people that are naysayers that won't happen in the U.S. and everything else, but they were probably the same naysayers that said we couldn't have a pandemic in the U.S. too. So I'm not saying it will happen, but there is so much money sitting on the sidelines right now that I am optimistic that it will. Okay, and that we will. When people are feeling comfortable to be out there, there will be money. In which case, that will justify you keeping your payroll on. Yes, Karen, either that or we're just going to instead of letting Trump annex Canada, we'll let Trudeau annex America so that we can have that rent relief. But you guys have some really high rents up there, although, Karen, your rent's really reasonable. But a lot of you up there have some, it gets pricey with all the taxes and everything else, and what that pays for. It can be really pricey. So the fact that you're getting great relief, I'm very, very happy. I'm excited for it. The Family Sick Leave Act, most businesses don't under 50, you don't have to be a part of. You can opt out of it. This is, Crystal, this just affects the PPP forgiveness, not anything with the EIDL. The EIDL grant is just that. If you don't apply for the PPP and you got the EIDL grant, that money is yours. Again, most people are have gotten the EIDL advance, or are getting the EIDL advance and getting a PPP. Keep in mind, if you got the EIDL advance and you got the PPP, when you go for forgiveness, okay, that advance gets added in. So you still owe that when you're going in for forgiveness. And I recommend paying it at that point so you're done with the PPP. Okay, don't leave that part outstanding. It's just messy. And you'll have to start making payments on the advance. So just be done with it, pay it back at that point, and be done with it. Keep that in mind. Because people are getting, originally that wasn't supposed to happen, but people are getting the advance and the PPP, and so that advance, if you got the PPP, you're going to have to settle up with that, and I recommend settling up with that when the loan forgiveness is done at the end of the 8 weeks, or in July, just plan on July, that whatever your advance was, settling it up at that point. I just want, when you do the settle up on the PPP for the forgiveness, it's going to be much easier for you if you are just done with that thing and all that paperwork just closes out versus having it sit open and you have a loan payment. So do not, that is my ultimate recommendation on that. And, yeah, that's the highlights of today, because everybody's been really nervous about the unemployment side of it. And there's some state-by-state stuff, but the FAQs that I'll post tonight and then get reposted to the Resale Strong page really clear up a lot of that and give references to it. So that's why I really like the Iowa one, because it was much better organized than other states. Every state has something very similar. You can go to your state's unemployment insurance page, and they have something similar, but Iowa just typed it out the best. So, either that, they have good English teachers in Iowa or something. But they really did the... if the 8 weeks starts, June 30th doesn't matter. 8 weeks, you have 8 weeks from whenever it's dispersed. It has nothing to do with June 30th on the 8 weeks. The 8 weeks is going to have to do with an FTE calculation that has yet to be fully determined, okay? And every sheet that I have, it's, yes, you can, but yes, I did respond to that, so... Bonnie, Chris, Julie, tomato, Canada, United States, we just throw it all together. It's Friday night, and the feeling's right. So I know it's confusing. I know there's a lot of individual idiosyncrasies to this, which is why I have a stack like this. No, it's all good, Julie. We're all good. But I'm happy to return... I'm working on that, Chris, because actually that was brought up during one of my calls today about having a letter reminding them of all the reasons that they are required to come back. So I have reached out to a couple of the organization's legal departments to see if they have something that the big guys are using on that. Oh, Joanne, so really all the money has to be spent during the 8 weeks. So the easier to show it if it is checks cashed or deposited in that 8 weeks, or if you're just electronically transferring it out of that account to people during that 8 weeks. Because it is about a spending in that 8 weeks. And that's what matters. It is not for expenses incurred, Joanne. And that's where payroll periods get dicey in this, and some people may have to bring a pay period in early because it's really about spending in that 8 week period. The money actually has to be spent, not just incurred. So we continue to watch that and work with that. But feel free to reach out with your questions on it, because there are a lot of individual idiosyncrasies on it, and I am happy to answer them. I am happy to bring clarity to muddy water and make that work for you. The easiest way to get a hold of me, again, is to email me. Email me to Neil, N-E-I-L, at ECIstores.com. Neil at ECIstores.com is the email address. No, it doesn't include the advance, that spending, Julie, because that advance is really getting added on, and that's why you're going to owe it when you cancel out the PPP. So when you go for the forgiveness on the PPP, they're going to add it on top of it, and you're going to want to you won't be able to hop on the EIDL till Monday. They're not opening either the EIDL or the PPP. The SBA is not taking applications for either one until Monday. Banks are taking applications for the PPP now, and you should get that in. But the EIDL will reopen on Monday at approximately 10:30 Eastern. They're going to open the EIDL and the PPP back up, and you should get in on that. If you haven't, you should get in on that. But they're updating their systems to make some changes for some little things that were changed in the bill. One, to allow farms, not allow hedge funds. Go figure. So there's some of those changes that are important that they have to update the software, so the computer guys have the weekend to get all the changes in and get ready. And do that. Yes, that's fine. Yes, you can get in on the EIDL advance on Monday too. So, but if you have any specific questions, you know where to reach me. Oh, I believe that, Sarah. I'm with you. Until it's there, nobody believes it. But it is, the process is working. People are getting the advances. People are getting the PPP, and people are actually getting funded EIDLs. I had more EIDLs that I know about closed this week, and it's working. The full EIDL loans are on a 25 to 40 day time frame as long as you do what you're asked when they ask you for it. The process is working. Money is coming. I can say that confidently. That's, as frustrated as everybody is with the system, it's not perfect. It's not perfect. No government program ever is, and certainly not one rolled out this quickly. But it is working, and it is getting money out there, and I'm so excited. I can't tell you the relief that people get when that does show up in their account. Yeah, you'll get contacted. You'll get that email that I told you about, Pat. You'll get that email to finish everything else up. You will get it. I promise. They will not forget you. They know who you are now. Okay, I promise you. They will finish up the EIDL with you. I was on one call today, and the guy was like 6 months. Well, the COVID thing hasn't been going on 6 months, so it was just funny. But it is. I've been tracking. I've got like 50 stores that I've been tracking, 50 businesses, and it is working. So, and it's across industries, not just resale stores that I've been working with and tracking. The process is working, and that part, yes, it could always be faster. I mean, I would like same-day funding of everything. It could always be faster, but it is working. No, that's the number one thing. They are telling me if you've got something in, don't mess it up, because when it gets to the SBA system, it can really mess things up if you're in at more than one bank. I have heard that repeatedly from the SBA, that they are advising against that. There's going to be a process, there's going to be a race for these funds, but the ones that have applications in this weekend should get in for it and not get shut out. But don't come to me next Friday and say, oh, I'm just thinking about applying for the PPP. Then you'll get shut out a week from now. So we start with every night with our Good Morning, Good Night book. Tonight, our good morning was, good morning. You got a good head on your shoulders. As for your shoulders, effing magnificent. Go get 'em today. Our good night from our Good Morning, Good Night book. Good night. Rest your weary head and those incredible shoulders. You did great today. Yes, you did, people. I am Neil Abramson. You find me here every night live in the NARTS member-only Facebook group at 8 o'clock Eastern. This video is recreated and replayed on the YouTube channel You're Not Alone Running This Store the next day at noon. Adele keeps everything we talk about, all the documents that I cite, organized and reposts them to narts.org/resalestrong. There's a link there to these videos as well. Again, the replays hit there the next day at noon. I am Neil Abramson. I will be back tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern. You, and most especially you, are not alone running this store. I'll see you tomorrow, everybody. It's dinner time.